I'm hydrated. How about you?
I hear you allow women in this establishment.
You know, it's the funny thing about the Cameroon's Revenge. It's one of the few vessels that does not have such prejudices. And that's actually not true. Most of the ships out of Cameroon are pretty unisex. Yeah. The he's, the she's, the they's, the them's. Everyone is welcome. What can I say? I'm a sucker for unity. Despite my normally rebellious nature, that is all I'm about. And hello. Welcome back. If you were listening to us, what was it, 2 years ago at this point? We've made some changes. We've made some updates. But it seems that we are still marooned. Welcome back to the show that is going to make you ask the questions, because we've got an answer or two. Or at least, so far as we can find them. Everyone's always open to learn something new around here, and we hope you are too. Joining me on my wonderful bridge of the Cameroon's Revenge, as always, my dear friend, compatriot, the spear of our greatest business endeavors in the future, Sea Wind, Kaze Kage, the Emma, the protege of the great Wu themselves, my friends. Certified ninja with an X, if ever there were one. That's right. That's how into unity we are on this vessel. Pirates and ninjas getting along, cats and dogs sharing beds. It's a crazy, crazy world out here.
And along with us, my favorite, your favorite magical girl.
Absolutely. Black Girl Magic Incarnate, here she is. Bippity boppity who?
Oh, me? Hi.
Yeah, you.
I am she.
She is she. I thought you was she.
However you want to say it.
Yeah, GJ, she J. GJ?
She of many names, if you will.
That's right.
Sometimes see they, depending on the day.
Just don't call her late for dinner.
That's right. High quality, high brow entertainment around here. We earn our blunts. Scooby snacks. I swear up and down, I'd never make it through the day if it weren't for my wick. Speaking of sparking things up, we have a very important mission, my friends. Would you like to know what that is?
The suspense is killing me.
Oh, please, please. Do go on.
No, you go on.
Fine. What if I told you we are the descendants of a very, very cruel and frightening history?
What?
Every single one of us.
All of us?
Of Nubian flesh that calls Makanga home. We are the heirs of a very dark lineage. Did you know that?
They used to sell people here, so I would figure.
What if I told you the selling people part was not the worst part?
Was it selling people parts?
What if I told you that was not even the worst part? No, I'm quite serious, my friend. And you know, normally I'm all ready to spin a lovely and fun yarn, but it seems that we really do have an important task.
Indeed.
I'd like you, my friends listening out there in the far reaches of Neverland and beyond, to try and put yourself in my straw sandals for just a moment. And try and see what it is I am describing to you. And hopefully you can empathize a bit. We can open up your mind and we can learn some together. Are you all ready?
Let's do it.
Very well. Miss Chi,
Yes.
are you ready?
Let's go.
Very well. Full steam ahead.
Aye,
Of course. And so, the Cameroon's revenge advances. Please, by all means, my friends, do make sure. It is a very old and very sensitive vessel. If you do have any way of people trying to reach you in the form of a cellular device, do mute it for me. We don't want to knock the navigation off. Like I said, she's old, she's finicky. So anyway, full steam ahead. This dark lineage I'm talking about, if you will. I want you to imagine, let's just wind the clock back. You were taken by people you don't know, shackled to other people you don't know, stuffed with those people you don't know, like sardines in a leaky wooden shab of a can. And then you are shipped. 10 weeks or more, depending. Cross sea. And when you arrive, those people whom you only have gotten to know from lying next to them, hearing their cries, and trying to reassure each other through mutual kind gestures like touch, or helping each other clean the filth from underneath one another if you could. The courtesy of giving someone else a little extra room if you could manage. The only kindnesses you have known after slothing about in bilge water in the dark for over 2 months. And then you're taken from them too. Now you see, the interesting thing about these very first people that made this voyage that would soon become infamous. Did you know that they weren't slaves, at least not yet?
go on.
Yeah, you don't say.
Yeah. Now, we're going to get into that whole everyone was kings and queens crap another day, but I really mean that. They weren't slaves. But their offspring were. I need you to understand the mentality started when the very first generation was born. Because you see, this is how it began to work. And maybe this might sound a bit familiar to you, and if it doesn't later on, don't worry. We'll loop it back. Studs are brought in. They sire. Because different plantations require different types of workers. Different builds. Different shapes. But you know the interesting thing when you try to breed anything to shape it after a while, other more important things are left by the wayside, or less desirable things are made more desirable in order to assist with the process of getting the desired result.
Now, these are still people you're talking about, not animals.
Ah,
right?
An interesting interjection. I am talking about people. Can you believe that?
Amazing.
The interesting thing about this was these first 2 and 3 generations were separated from their mothers. Once again, scattered and sold out. And then whatever eldest female was on the plantation raised them, taught them how to mine. Now, you might be asking, well, what about the fathers? What about the mothers? Well, The mothers were just there to make more babies and then continue with their task, and the fathers were just there to provide the seed, and then were sent back to their respectives, or were kept for that express purpose. Bulls, to be more specific. That whole getting married and stuff that you hear about later on, that really didn't come till far, far down the road. In the beginning, you see, they were taking a people and trying to make it into an animal. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That's insane, like you guys just mentioned. I am still talking about people. It's a scary thing about being 331 years old. You see a few things. Now, these people, once they're born from their mother, they're taken from her before they're able to know her. The mother isn't able to bond with them at all. She's put right back to work. And they go directly to the eldest woman to take care of, en masse. Mammy. Grandmammy. The fathers show up, make more. The mothers go right back to work. The children are raised by the grand elder. And thusly, here we are in the present day with a heavily grand matriarchal based culture, attempt at a culture, because that's exactly what we are at this point. We are attempting to form a new culture, but we have no idea how deep-rooted that culture is to those several hundred years back and that first couple of generations of children that were stripped away from their confused parents who couldn't even speak to each other. That same illiteracy has spread and has continued. That curse, that first curse, the breaking of our bonds, the confusion, and then we were bred while we were confused. And they made sure to keep you good and confused for a very long time. Those that could read were only allowed to read one thing, and that one thing is so heavily ingrained in our community that even now in modern day, people in their 30s cannot read, but are willing to shoot you if you don't believe in God. A community that is so jaded and angry and hurt and betrayed that it doesn't trust modern medicine, because without them being betrayed, in many cases, modern medicine wouldn't be where it is today. But in order to betray them repeatedly, you had to make sure that they were domesticated in the first place. You had to make sure that there was nowhere for them to go. But then, suddenly, you felt bad. Suddenly, they felt bad.
Oh, that good old postmodern society and its guilt.
Man, the abolitionists started popping up, and suddenly they just couldn't believe that they were doing this to a people. But you can't, the thing is, from the very beginning, send them back. To where? By this point, there was no back to go. There is no go back. This is going to sound very cruel, my friends, and please forgive me. They bred us. They had a book that had us separated into breeds, like we were dogs, like we were horses. They perverted our endeavors, turned them into jokes, our very first business endeavor. Watermelon. Turned into a cruel stereotype that is quite literally used today as the punchline of, oh, he black, therefore melons. To this day, that joke is used, and it all started because somebody was upset that black farmers figured out a way to make money.
My granddaddy sold watermelon. Called him a watermelon pimp. There's portraiture of him as a kingpin almost.
My grandfather also did the same. My father's father, that is, and my mother's father ran a grocery store. So it's funny that they tried to make fun of us for it, but it seems green thumbs and entrepreneurship in some of us runs very deep. And that very entrepreneurship at one point culminated. A lot of people ask, well, why don't more black people have businesses? They're so thrifty and so clever to the point where people made fun of them for being clever. Why don't they have more of it? It's because going on 100 years ago, an entire community of said people were violently snuffed out just for being such. The thing is, they took a people from their home, maintained their confusion for so long, beat the ever-living hell out of them.
Forced a new language on them.
Forced a new language, forced a new religion, kept this confusion.
And ignorant.
I would think the ignorance envelops the ignorance simply is enveloped by the confusion, my friend. But yes, definitely. The sad thing is, it's trauma. An entire race, their legacy is trauma, is quite literally PTSD. The entire race has inherited PTSD that we perpetuate and we pass on. Fathers siring children and moving on to the next woman. We literally lift up and exonerate these men for having as many baby mamas in their community as possible. Why?
And it is genetic.
The mother of idiots is the mother of many, for she cannot educate any. Overburdened, overstressed, immediately back to work to support children that she alone can't support. So then those children go immediately into the hands of their grandmother and they have a closer bond with their aging grandmother. And then instead of being educated by the current generation, they are taught a generation or two back. And unfortunately, in our community, a lot of our elders aren't necessarily very literate. And if they were literate in life, are suffering from early onset Alzheimer's and other mental ailments. So many of our elderly do not have many of their mental faculties. And oftentimes go spiraling into an over-reliance on religion to explain everything. And then they take that, and that is how they teach every new generation coming up for 3 generations. Because every child born is raised by this one grandmother figure, this one mammy. We haven't been able to advance because quite literally a huge number of us are repeatedly educated backwards at home. And then we're sent into a world where that old way of thought simply does not work. And what are you going to tell them? That the woman that raised them is wrong?
How dare you?
That the one that gave them a chance is ignorant to the world around them? No. They're going to go around explaining everything the same way that she did. And then because, well, she can't keep an eye on all them kids on her own, they're going to get out. They have children young. Those children are raised by her too. Man, did they ever let us go? Because you heard what I just said. Apologize for that. Heard.
I like it. That's how it's spelled.
I mean, to be fair,
It is.
it's my second language. To be fair, this is my second language. But think about that. You heard earlier. Taken from the mother because the mother was forced to work, because the father was only there to sire. Given to the grandmother to raise. The cycle perpetuates. Pedophilia runs rampant in our community. Because back then they didn't care how old she was. Oh, she's had her cycle. She's ready to breed.
There's that word again.
Strange. That word, that act of just breeding and moving on, it sticks with our people, and it's odd, isn't it? So many things for us to weather. So many curses that we've inherited. That, like I said, it's a trauma. Generational PTSD. Thunder practically rolls in anticipation on this, my friends. Listen, I don't have all the answers, but I'll be damned if I sit here in ignorance. I want to share with you, my friends, what it is I've learned. But I'd like you to tell me what it is you want to know. I'm not going to sit here and talk down to you and spit the exact date in your face and every single name, but the origins of, and how they happened, and why. I'd love to help you understand. Because I believe that is how we move ourselves forward. We have to make sure we all understand each other. Because if you remembered in the beginning, I promised you I'd bring it back. They made sure we didn't understand each other. And I aim to change that. So, my friends, willing to help me?
Oh boy.
I've been with you through worse.
Weathered far greater storms, eh?
Indeed.
How about you, oh wind lord? Ready to sail straight into the hurricane of curses, trauma, and battered peoples that is our sordid history?
Hey, I'm a wind ninja. I'm always down for a good storm.
Oh, my friend, there will be beasts of every variety on our way, but I promise you, we will tackle them. But, seeing as this is a unified bridge, why don't each of you tell me? And by all means, anyone else out there that has hailed this little signal and is listening in, let me know too. What is something plaguing our people? Our American black people
Where
that
to
you wish to
begin?
know?
Wow.
And I promise you, when I join you again, we will tackle one of those topics first, the next after that, and my friends, then I will delve into those comments and we will unturn every single one of these iron amalgamations of beasts that our people are confronting, and we will figure out a way through it. And by the time we get through the other side, I really hope you guys will stick around with us. But let me know. So my friends, do tell. What can I, your friend adrift, do for either of you? Any of you?
Well, that's a blank check. There's so many places to start.
Really is.
Let's see. How about let's begin with. Oh yeah, you said you would dive into the whole everybody was kings and queens mentality. And that's kind of reemerged in the wake of certain
Kings
films
and
and
queens and all that.
Who does that remind you of?
Yeah.
Who was that?
Yeah, I knew of people like that. And interesting folk. You'd actually really enjoy them, I think. A lot of people enjoy them. That's what they're mostly known for. In the little spin of the verse I come from, it's a planet called Cairo. The people there are beautiful.
Yeah. The pretty people planet.
The pretty people, all of them, tall, dark like obsidian, beautiful golden markings all over their skin. They literally look like onyx statues that you'd see on the pyramids and shit, man. Beautiful people. Truly, truly beautiful people. So thinks everyone else in the verse. So beautiful that they don't even need to leave their planet. In fact, they're the only ones left in our entire galaxy that haven't ventured out. Everyone born of Cairo is a king or a queen. There is no in-between. There is nothing else. There are kings and there are queens, and that is all. And if you believe in anything else, you are simply not of their noble line and simply cannot be educated. You would have to do your own research on their people. For educating you is a waste of their time. The people of Cairo, that is. I mean, their language, Hotep, is rather complicated. You'd be surprised how much wearing a headdress assists you with saying it. You know, the words and everything. But anyway, more about that, though. Less fantasy, more fact. If we're all kings and queens, then who was left behind? You mean to tell me thousands and thousands and thousands of royalty were just all taken? No, friends. No. You are so much more glorious than that, so much more diverse than that. Let me help you.
While we're on that point, yeah, historically that happened a time or two.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how the entire transatlantic slave trade went down.
Absolutely. No. It's not. But still. Were some of them? Yes. Were any of them Native Americans? No. Were they traded to Native Americans? Yes. So some of you that think that...
And left off their reservation.
Apparently there were some that believe that they are the first to have ever settled on what you call North America, which would be completely asinine for anyone from Cairo to have somehow settled in North America first. Because the Native Americans were already there. So that wouldn't make much sense. And we're not the same thing. Because there are receipts of them being sold to them. So I'm not exactly sure.
R.I.P. to the Tainos.
Indeed. What wonderful native people. Puerto Rico struggles to this day. But honestly, we can dive into that. I'll go further into that. I don't mind taking that voyage for you. We could take a journey to Cairo, and I could tell you all about it in detail, my friend. That's not a problem. Let's go ahead and put that in. Now you, Princess Chi.
Me?
Yes, you.
What did I do now?
My dear friend, what you've done... Solar Storm's getting ready to roll in on us. What you haven't done is told me what your target is. What is it that you want to take a crack at first?
I mean, you kind of brought it up already. The rampant pedophilia.
There's far more to it.
Yes.
But are you sure?
And yes.
Very well.
Like, sure, there's that relative that you kind of know isn't quite right in the head. And then there's some things that our celebrities and pop artists have said about men being attracted to women of childbearing age.
Fantastic.
And like you said, she's bleeding, she's good for breeding. That's that sickness.
Fantastic. So you wish to take that on?
I'm just tired of little girls with colored braids being told that that's too grown for them somehow.
And you have every right to be tired of that. My friends, I will do that for you. At first, if you don't mind, Miss Chi.
Yes.
Your target is a fair bit chunkier than the shallow people of Cairo. I think we'll stop by them first, if you don't mind.
Oh, no, that's fine.
But afterwards, we can get into them, slimy bastards. I promise you. I will find a way for us all to understand each other, my friends. Come solar winds or high waters, I will find a way. But anywho, since I'm going to make sure to knock these things out for you, and since I hope the rest of you have come up with something for me, do join us next time. I mean, we might be marooned, but we're all in this shit together. I'm Captain Flint.
Chris Win the Emma.
And Princess Chi.
Fantastically done, if I do say so myself. And to you out there listening, wherever you are in the verse, hopefully this all makes a bit more sense to you. And if it doesn't, let me know. I'll try harder next time. But you'll have to check next time to see if I did. Take care. Signing off for now.